Hello and welcome to this lecture video. In this video, this is covering additional practice problems, okay? So what I want you to do is you have these additional problems in your course pack, and I want you to do this one, and this one, skip this one, and then go on to the next page and do these two. And before you do them, I want you to pause the lecture video and then do these problems and then come back and then we'll check it together. Okay? Okay, so let's see how you did. So you have over here the costs incurred by Randall rockers are summarized below at two different levels, 600 and 700 units. So cost A, cost B, and cost C is 600 units and 700 units. Which of these costs is variable? So this is a tricky question. This is probably the hardest question of this set that I've just assigned to you. Okay, so the way to solve it is to first calculate the variable cost per unit at 600 units and then multiply it times 700 and then see if you get this answer. Okay, so let's take a look at cost A. So I took my total cost divided by 600. That gives me $4.50 per unit. Now, if this cost A is completely variable, I should be able to multiply $4.50 times 700 units and then get this number. Because remember, variable costs per unit are constant. So if I multiply that times the new output, this is the number I should get. Then you can see that I did that and I got that number. Same thing here, $29.40 divided by the 600, $4.90 times the 700. And then what we have is $34.30. And then you can see that is not matched up with $33.60, which means it's not variable. Okay, this one has some fixed costs in it. Okay, the next one, 4,800 divided by 600 gives me 8. 8 times the 700 gives me 5,600, and that does match. So that means that A and C are variable costs. B is not a variable cost. It could be a mixed cost, but it has some fixed costs in there. Because you can see, look, if I multiply it, see, that's 34.30, which is higher than 33.60. The reason that this is lower than this is because that there's some fixed costs in here that don't increase or don't change as I move from 600 to 700 units. That's why this becomes lower than this. Okay? So let's look at the next one. Total costs are 38.4 with 16,000 units and 41.1. It was 17,200 units. We use high-low. So the way we do that is we take our high costs minus our low cost divided by our high activity minus our low activity, $2.25 of variable cost per unit. Then I can come over here and take my high level of activity. Okay. Or I'll just take, actually it looks like, 17,200, which is my high level of activity, times my $2.25 gives me 38.7. That is my total variable costs at 17,200 units. Total costs are 41,100 at 17,200 units. So I can take my 41,100 minus my 38.7. This is my total variable costs. This is my total costs. This gives me my total fixed costs. Okay? Then at 17,100 units, what's going to be my total costs? I can then multiply 17,100 times my variable cost per unit, gives me my total variable cost of 38,475 plus my fixed costs. This is the right answer. Okay? Another high-low problem. So we are going to choose our high level of activity and then our low level of activity. And then we choose the corresponding cost with each one of those. Okay? We choose 3,200 and then we look at the cost. And then we choose 2,000 and then look at the cost. Divide the difference in cost by the difference in the activity level, $2.25 again. Then we can say, all right, what is the total fixed cost? And I can choose either the high or the low. And I just choose the high. So I multiply 3,200 times $2.25 gives me 7,200. Then I take my total cost minus my total variable costs gives me my total fixed costs. That's the right answer. Okay. I said to skip this one. So let's go on and look at the next page. So our Diva products produces scars. The estimated fixed costs for the year are $164,500. Estimated variable costs are $9. And then the company expects to sell 40,000 at a price of $16 a unit. Okay. So what I'm going to do, so I'm asking by how much can sales revenue drop before they incur a loss. So basically I'm asking I'm asking for the margin of safety in terms of sales dollars. That's what this problem is asking for. So first you have to calculate break even. Okay. So I took my $164,500 fixed costs divided by my sales price minus my variable cost per unit. This is my CM per unit. That gives me 23,500 units to break even. I'm currently selling 40,000 scars. My break even is 23,500. That means my margin of safety in terms of units is 16,500, but I want in terms of sales dollars, so I just multiplied it times the sales price of 16. That gives me 264. This last problem, Rogers Racers makes toy race cars that sell for $12 each. Variable cost of $5 per car. 12 sales price minus the variable cost of 5 gives me contribution margin of 7. How much will profit increase if 600 more units? Well, I'm assuming I'm beyond the break-even point, so all I have to do is multiply the 600 additional units times my $7 of contribution margin per unit gives me $4,200. This is total additional contribution margin, which then translates into total additional profit, assuming we are beyond the break-even point. Okay. So what I want you to do now is do additional exercise 1. Okay. And then I want you to do, if we look over here, I want you to do additional exercise 1, as I have here. And then I also want you to do additional exercise 2, but you don't need to calculate the variable cost ratio and then the break-even point. Go ahead and pause the lecture video, do additional exercise 1 and additional exercise 2, and then we will review it. Thanks. Okay, so let's see how you did. So looking at additional exercise 1, what is the amount of contribution margin per unit? We take our sales price minus our variable cost, it's 4. What is the contribution margin ratio? The contribution margin divided by the sales price, 0.4. What would be the amount of net loss if you only sold 1 unit? Well, I could take my contribution margin of $4. That's my contribution margin if I sell 1 unit, minus my $20,000 of fixed costs. This would be my loss. Okay. What would be the amount of net income if you sell 6,000 units? 6,000 times my contribution margin gives me 24,000. The 24,000 minus my $20,000 of fixed costs gives me 4,000. And what is the maximum amount of net income possible within the relevant range? So I multiply and I'm looking up here. This is within the relevant range. That's what this question is asking for. So we say the maximum amount of units, 10,000, times the 4 is 40,000, minus my fixed cost of 20,000 gives me $20,000. Okay. And we look over here at additional exercise 2. Okay. So my variable cost per unit, I have to take my total variable cost divided by 2,000, gives me $1.62. I said not to do the variable cost ratio. You don't need to worry about that. Then we can calculate our contribution margin per unit by taking total contribution margin divided by total units. Our contribution margin ratio, you could do it in terms of units, unit calculations, or in terms of total. I chose to do it in terms of total. I take total contribution margin divided by total sales, 0.64. So you get 64 cents of contribution margin for every dollar of sales. Okay. In terms of the break even, we take our fixed costs of 4,248 plus 0 profits, right? Divided by my contribution margin per unit, which is $2.88, 1475 units. Okay. Break-even point in terms of sales dollars, we can take our 42.48 divided by our CM ratio, right over here, 6,637.5. And then if we wanted to check that, we could take our 1475 divided by our $4.50, which is our selling price. I got that by taking my 9,000 total sales dollars divided by my 2,000 units. I sell it for $4.50 times my 1475, which was my break even in terms of my sales dollars, in terms of our units. 6637 is the right answer. If we look over here in terms of what's our units, sales in terms of units to have a net income of 11,232. We take our fixed costs plus our target profit divided by our CM, contribution margin per unit, 5,375. In terms of the sales dollars, 4248 fixed costs plus my 11,232 of sales dollars divided by my CM ratio of 0.64, 24,187.20 sales dollars to get net income of that of 11,232. In terms of our margin of safety, if we sell 2242 units, well, we calculated break even. 2242 minus the 1475 of break even, 767 units. In terms of a percentage, we can take that 767, which is the margin of safety, divided by the number of units that we're currently selling of 2242, and then that gives us a 34.2%. So if sales drop by 34.2%, we are at break even. That's what this is telling you. And then in terms of sales dollars, we can take our 2242, we get our 10,089 minus our break even, which we calculated on the prior page, 6637. That gives us our sales dollars of 3,451.5. And then we can take our 3,451.5 divided by our current sales dollars of 10,089, and we get the same answer, 34.2%. Okay? So hopefully you got all those right. If you didn't, please let me know, and I'm happy to go over those in more detail with you. Okay? So this ends this lecture video. Thank you so much.